I can only say, bloody beautiful day. I was itching to get out today. Itching. I had a long ride yesterday. Was pretty tired last night, slept pretty easily. I went up north yesterday and I just basically, I wasn't going hard because I was planning to go very long, and then in the end I had a nice ride. And it's soon to get busy for me, so I'm just trying to make the most of the last days of summer, even though it's now autumn because it's March. I'm in a great mood. The weather is beautiful. We're going for a swim later, so I'm going early. There's not a breath of wind. I don't see any clouds. Oh, it's a good day. Come on. If the rest of the ride can be as good as the mood is right now, I'm a winner. Taking in the view of that building, thinking I love this place, and then I just rolled straight over a broken bottle. Oh, come on, tires, help me out. Don't succumb, don't succumb. This is called Central Park. I've documented it before and I'm likely to do it again. I'm going to show this view that I've shown 1,000 times, and I'm looking at it now, and now you are too. What are my chances of getting a green light on a Sunday morning before the sun comes up, when there's no traffic? Pretty little, because it's Sydney. So Rob, what's your plan? Well, I might just share with you a couple of observations I've made, and the reason that I'm going this way when it's such a beautiful day and it's sort of basically a trajectory towards traffic lights. Last night was the farewell of World Pride, like the closing ceremony. I don't know. Anyway, the point being, during my slumber I could hear all of these fireworks, right? Celebration, party in the nation, blah, 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 that kind of thing. And so given that it's a Sunday morning and last night was a Saturday night, I thought I'll come out bright and early and document the, I would say, potential chaos. There's that building again. And because I come down here before and I've seen mayhem as a result of the night before. And I thought, chances of that happening again today, pretty bloody high. And then, sure enough, as I alluded to earlier, I've already ridden over some broken glass. Let's have a look at this, it's quite pretty. Reflecting on my city, reflections of my city. Choose what you want. Elvis. And right on cue, a World Pride sign. They say it's finished, but they're still promoting it. And anyway, I started thinking, imagine if cycling could be taxed as much as alcohol. Because if it could, then the government would be just like pushing its barrow. Because in Australian culture, probably a lot of other cultures, but I live in Australia, the word on the street when you're talking about having a good time is to go and get drunk, get pissed, sink alcohol, go out, have a beer with a mate, go and, go to the pub, catch up with some friends, go and get pissed. Go to the sport, go and get pissed. Go and, basically spend your money on booze. Because it's a highly reliable income source. Because it's an addiction, isn't it? People love it. And I'm guilty of it. I drink too much. That's a fact. And I'm trying to stop. But I'm also aware of it. And when you have the government saying, just go and get pissed, and we'll endorse it. Come on, we need more commercial activity. Let's go and open the bars for longer. Blah, blah, blah. Let's go and have a party on the streets, and you know what I mean. Hopefully you know what I mean. I know what I mean. Anyway, when it's like that, it just basically means that the whole, like, this sort of strange entertainment economy relies on people being susceptible to the lure of alcohol. And people are, so it's pretty reliable. And then the next day, all these people get jobs on account of there being a huge need to go and rescue the inebriated, to go and clean up the streets and sweep up the broken glass and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, it's terrific for the economy because everything keeps rolling and they've got all of that tax revenue from the alcohol sales and everyone's happy. So the theory goes. But, like, imagine if cycling was as taxable as alcohol. Then they might actually invest in a little bit of education on how to ride in traffic for bike riders, how to drive in traffic when bike riders are around. So they might invest in a little bit of infrastructure to make the cities run a little bit more efficiently, and actually might, have bike paths that are designed by bike riders rather than people with CAD who, like they look at the pictures and think, oh yeah, you can go squiggly through that park at 12 kilometres an hour, isn't that terrific? That's called commuting. No, that's called a giant pain in the ass. Like, it's fucking useless because cycling isn't just a meandering old, although I am, activity. It's an activity that allows you to get from A to B. It's super duper practical, and unfortunately there's no huge tax revenue to be made from it. So what they do is put in a token gesture effort, put pictures of bikes around the place and pretend that they're supporting an activity that could make the world a better place if more people did it. And I know I'm preaching the converted here, but, bear with me. It's just my thought for the day while I pedal along through Darling Harbour in Sydney, in search of, I don't know, a happy place, like I was this morning when I departed the office, and like I was yesterday when I got back from a big bloody long bike ride in the country. All right. So ends that little bit of diatribe, and continuing. St James, convenient bike path until it stops randomly. That might all seem pretty obtuse, but I might just sit here, just in front of this church near Macquarie Street, and reflect on what I was trying to say so I can get the words out without sort of being distracted by the things I see. Unclipping from the pedal, twisting the bike, whoop, and sitting on the top tube. So the point of all that is, on a Sunday morning in Sydney of late, since the end of COVID, the end of the lockdowns and the end of the lockout laws that had been imposed to save people from the scourge of alcohol, since then, when I go riding, I see carnage on the streets. I see people sleeping in the gutter. I see people passed out on park benches. I see bottles smashed and litter everywhere. And it's the cigarette packs. That's the prevalent form of litter in my observation. Cigarette packs everywhere, cigarette butts everywhere, and great for tax, not great for your health. But similarly with the argument being that if people go out and party, then they will contribute to the economy. It's true, it's true. But if people go and ride their bikes and get healthy, they contribute to the economy in a different way, because instead of like having to go to casualty to get your stomach pumped from your boozy session, you don't go to hospital at all because you're healthier. You sleep better, you think better, you're more coherent, and life's pretty good. But there's no tax in thinking clearly. Like, it's better when you're inebriated, because then you just spend more money because you just don't even really think about your bank balance. You just go out and do it because, well, it seemed logical at the time. And then later you just sit there going, shit, I've just spent all of my food budget on one night of alcohol. And anyway, the government says, I don't care, we've got the tax sucked in. And just then, when I was sitting in an intersection, there was litter everywhere. And I was paying attention to traffic, so I didn't film. And a bike rider was coming along in a bus lane, which is perfectly bloody entitled to do. And this bus was driving behind him with a whole clearance of, let's say, 30 centimetres, 25 centimetres maybe, like a pretty small distance. And I was thinking, you're a professional driver being paid by the government, and you're driving like an arsehole because you haven't been told this is how you behave around bike riders. And it's a pretty easy message to pass along. It's a pretty easy education campaign, isn't it? Hey, car driver, if you are driving behind a bike rider and you think that by being really, 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 really close to them, that's safe, no, it's not. You don't do it to other car drivers, so why do you do it to a bike rider? I experienced it yesterday coming back from my beautiful country ride. I'd been out there in the traffic light free zone for a little while, and I was really enjoying it. It was terrific. I was just allowed to entertain myself with my thoughts, pedal along, get some exercise, and feel good about myself. I didn't care about the weather. I didn't care about the wind. I didn't care about things that were beyond my control. And then I got back to the city, and I had to ride along the Pacific Highway coming back into the city, because that's, well, the most logical step to take, the most direct route. And I just wanted to get home at that point. I was pretty fatigued. Anyway, here's some police on bikes. That's very encouraging. Good morning. How are you?
Thank you.
Love that. I might do an interview with them. I've tried that before, but it's always pretty bloody boring. Anyway, so the thing is, as I was coming down this, let's call it stretch of treachery, otherwise known as Pacific Highway, bloody major thoroughfare from north to south, south to north in Sydney, there were these drivers who had no idea. First of all, 1 metre matter. It's true, it's a law. You're supposed to give passing distance of at least a metre when it's under 60 kilometres an hour, and 1.5 metres at over 60 kilometres an hour. Is that right? Something like that. You're supposed to. It's never policed. It's a treacherous law because it makes people, it lulls them into a false sense of security, as I've said many times before, and I will keep saying it until that law is revised, or at least policed officers. And so that doesn't happen, and I'm used to that. I know that they're going to brush past me and come super close and basically hit me with their side view mirror. These things happen, and they've happened since I've been riding a bike. I can deal with it. But when people ride, let's say, when they drive that close to your back wheel, that's bloody stupid. Now, guys, if you're in a car and you've seen a bike race and you understand that people sit on and blah, 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 yeah, that's right. We know how to ride a bike, and we're in that situation ourselves, and we can manage it, and that's why we ride close to one another. But if you're in traffic, you don't do that. Certainly if you're in a vehicle that could easily squash a bike rider, should there be a sudden halt, you don't do that. Now, the education campaign is simple. Please give a little bit of respect to everyone who uses the bicycle, who uses the road, who gets around, who is just trying to, live their lives. Give a bit of respect to one another. I didn't realise it, but I say that after a week of well, maybe it was 2 weeks, of World Pride in Sydney, where the whole premise of it is give someone some respect, give a bit of love, love and love and let love. And I'm all over it. That to me is absolutely bloody logical. And I think pretty much in 2023, everyone else has sort of got that attitude, surely. Like, I can understand that it was dreadfully frustrating when homophobia was completely rife and like it was rank and people just didn't feel comfortable being who they were. But we're progressing thanks to things like this, and that's allowed that. But there's not going to be a bike pride or a cyclist pride or a festival that allows people to go and ride their bikes and do as they please for a fortnight while everyone else comes around. Because we've tried to do that. We had the Wollongong World Championships and it was a fiasco because it was poorly promoted and the government spent the money on the UCI and then just forgot about having to invest in anything called promotion. Anyway, this has gone long enough, but my point is, wouldn't it be terrific if cycling had more of a taxable income so that the government might think, shit, that's a worthwhile endeavour, we should pay attention to that. That's my thought for a Sunday morning.